We're talking about progression today. Life is all about progression. This is what we're talking about today. I waiting on man himself to come on. There he goes. There he goes. There he goes. There he goes.
What's up, man?
Man, what is the word?
Oh man, God is the word.
What you got going down there in Florida? We live, so they'll start pouring in here. What you got going down there in Florida?
I guess to make a long story short, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Okay,
That's
okay.
pretty much what we got going on right now, and I'm hopeful that's what's going to be going on for the for the duration of my lifetime. So
So
you
so
know,
I didn't titled this life is about progression. Uh
okay,
I know we were talking a little bit before this, and you were saying that you just got done playing around the golf. Uh
I did over at Suntree Country Club in Melbourne, Florida.
so can you tell me a little bit about the cigar you smoking, and I see you got the polo one. Man, we gonna
Yeah,
start with the
yeah, absolutely. So this cigar here is my own line of cigars, the A. Baruti collection. I am Akili Baruti, and this is my cigar company, Fairway Cigar Company. This shirt that you're seeing me wear is my cigar lounge that I own, Fairway Cigar Lounge, which we will be opening within the next couple of weeks in the avenues of Vieira in Melbourne, Florida. So
so look at I must ask just because again I don't know if I wanted to start. I look at I heard this story one time, or it was a comedy sketch where they were saying about man Michael Jackson. He was owning, he owned the Tigers and the Lions and stuff like that, and the comedian was saying, man, we wouldn't know who do you call if you wanted to get a lion. You would be calling your local zoo trying to buy their lion. Like, no, that's not how that works. So
that's not how that works.
right. So I guess for one who 'cause I wouldn't know where to start if I'm trying to open a cigar lounge. I was just at Churchill's yesterday. Uh
Uh-huh.
so how do you like where do you start if you're trying to like open up a cigar lounge? Like who is the phone call you make? Is it to an investor? Is it to the city? Like how does that start?
No, that's so it means all of that's important, but the start of it comes from a fond knowledge and appreciation for what it is that you're getting involved with.
Okay.
So for me, it started back in Virginia, Minnesota, back in 2002 when I was the roommate to a Cuban American, to an American, to a Cuban American whose father was a Cuban immigrant that hand rolled cigars.
Wow.
So he would send his son cigars, and his son would keep them in his room, and he would smoke them. He would enjoy them, and take a deep breath. Mind you, I come from Muskegon Heights, Michigan. We don't know nothing about no cigar. What we know about cigars is Swisher Sweets,
Right. Oh,
Phillies,
yeah.
Optimals, Backwoods, and so um, we're in the dorms one night, and my roommate was out on a date, and it was late, and of course we were looking for some papers to roll. We didn't have anything, and
Okay.
I remember that he kept a box of cigars in his room, not knowing anything about cigars. I'm thinking they just cigars. Look, if he got a problem, I can buy him another box tomorrow, and everything will be good.
Right.
So that I went there, got a couple cigars, two of his Cuban cigars that his father's rolled, bust them things down, rolled them up, smoked them, and didn't think much of it. And when he came back to the room that night and was upset that we had went and got some of his cigars, and he wasn't upset that we went and got some of the cigars. He was upset that we got the cigars, dumped out the tobacco, and used the leaf to roll up some blunts. And
Ooh.
he's like, you don't even know what you just did, man. My dad put his blood, sweat, and tears to get me those cigars. And if you were going to smoke the cigar, I wouldn't have had a problem. But to do that with it, man, the cigar is worth more than what you're smoking. And he was my friend, my roommate. He didn't
All right.
talk to me at that point for like 2 months, and there was nothing I could do to apologize to him
Really?
for There was nothing I could. There was no words. I mean, I apologized. I tried to apologize. He wasn't hearing it. He was devastated. He went 2 months without talking to me. So at that moment, what I ended up doing, because I valued his friendship, I went out and I decided that I'm going to educate myself on why these cigars are so important to him.
Okay.
Because I, I cared that much for him to at least educate myself on why they were so important to him.
Right.
And in in educating myself, I grew a fond appreciation for cigars.
Okay.
And so this started back in 2002. So I've been going all over the world, literally trying different cigars, smoking different cigars. It became a hobby of mine. It became a pastime. And I would and how my mind operates. I'm the person that if if I'm going to spend a lot of money on something, then I'm at some point in time I'm going to realize that it's about time for me to get a return on the
Oh yeah.
money that I spent.
Sure.
So in all those years of me educating myself on cigars and me, meeting with people, talking with people, you um, just getting a fond appreciation for you know business as well. I said, let me see if I can try my hand in
Mhm.
this particular line of business. And so that's ultimately what I ended up doing. And here we are today in 2023. I have my own line of cigars. I have my own lounge that you can buy these cigars, and you can enjoy your night sitting down at Fairway Cigar Lounge smoking a Baruti cigar with a Baruti.
So I guess it seems like you're saying that first you had to get an appreciation for the cigars, but then once you learn as much as possible about the cigars, because you can just, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can just have your own line of cigars without actually having the cigar lounge. So okay, once
Yes.
you get to the point where it's like, okay, I think we done perfected this cigar, because I'm assuming that this is not an overnight process. Like you said, it's going to
No.
take years and years and years to
Yes.
uh, refine your cigar. But then, okay, once you get to the point where it's like, okay, we got it. We got something that I think they're going to enjoy. Why not just put out the line of cigars? How do you get to the point where it's like, okay, no, now I need the cigar lounge?
Well, so for me with the lounge, the concept came with the lounge because when I'm smoking a good cigar, I want to be comfortable.
Right,
I want to sit down. I want to be able to, engage in conversation. I want to be able to listen to maybe something that's going to put me in a different place from the pressures of the outside world when I'm not smoking a cigar.
right,
So the
right,
lounge came from me being coming from the background of if I'm selling cigar, if I'm not going to, I guess you would call me OCD, but everything has to be in line with what it is I'm doing. So
right.
I'm sitting. So if I'm sitting out smoking a cigar and I'm in a particular place and I'm spending a lot of money and I don't have anywhere that I can comfortably smoke a cigar, I know there's a need for that.
For sure.
So how my brain operates, I'm all about growing. I'm all about educating myself, being more knowledgeable about what it is I'm getting involved with, and that's where the lounge actually came. The idea from the lounge came from.
Okay.
Because it's something I'm going to do anyway. I'm going to smoke cigars.
Right.
I'm going to, I'm going to play golf. I'm going to, that's what I'm going to do.
So how do you differentiate or make your lounge better than, I guess, the competitors or what's out there? Because like you said, you think about this from a business standpoint and getting a return on your investment. So
Yeah,
now, obviously it's competition out there. You have the Churchill, you have
yeah.
these other different lounges. What do you do, or how do you go about the process to say, okay, I'm gonna make mine different in this way to kind of separate myself from the competition in that way?
So the way I was able to do that is I separated myself from anybody that's doing this is because I come from the bottom,
Right.
right? And I would always say, man, it don't take, if you have all this money and you got people that's working for you, man, you got to take care of your people.
Definitely.
You
Okay.
have to take care of your people. There's nothing more embarrassing than going to a quality bar and establishment and there's poor service.
No,
And the
you're right
only
about
reason
that.
the service is poor is because there's one or two reasons why the service is poor. Either you have poor leadership or the people that are working there aren't quality people.
Okay.
So how my brain operates, I'm knowing what caused the establishment to be poor. I'm saying, all right, so if we take away, I know as a leader, um, I will put my leadership skills against anybody in the world and what it is I do.
Right.
And so now it's getting the people that's on my team to know that they don't have to worry about the pressures that they might have to worry about when they're working at another establishment, because we're going to take care of all of that. And the only thing I ask them to do is to provide the grand quality, the grand service that anyone will ever experience when they walk through the door.
For sure. For sure. No,
So
and
I
that, I
say,
mean,
all right, we have two rules for my staff. Rule number one is quality service is why I hired you.
yep.
Rule number two, remember rule number one.
Look at no, and that's important because I mean, I go to Chick-fil-A and maybe some of these other places, and it seems like customer service, man, that's a lost art these days. So,
Correct.
it seems like these people are you spend your hard on earned money with
Correct.
different folks, and it seems like they don't appreciate that, or they
Correct.
take that for granted. So I would
Correct.
just normally I go to Big B and the coffee shop here in Michigan, and man, hey, look, every time I go there, they're smiling, they're positive.
Correct.
Man, that goes a long way when you're talking about, going to spend your hard-earned money with different, establishments, and I think people, companies, they take that for granted. Businesses, they take that for granted,
Correct.
and hey, the customer notice. So that is interesting that you said that, and I think that definitely would go a long way. So
Correct.
you talked about essentially being an effective leader. Where did that come from? Did that come from like other businesses that you were doing, or do you think you were just a natural born leader?
Well, I think a little bit of both. Of course, I mean my background is an athletic background.
Right.
So I was taught those leadership skills in the sports that I was playing, as well as the people that I had around me. So for me, I've been on really good teams and I've been on really bad teams. And what I like to do is I like to take what I learned from both of them and put them in the middle. So
Okay.
that way I can say here's when I was on that freaking amazing team,
Yep.
here's what we did to have success. And when I was on that really poor team,
Yep.
here's what we did to not have success.
Got you.
And so I have both. I have that aspect of business when we're going into these boardrooms, into these meeting rooms, and to I have that those aspects to take along with me. So for
Okay.
me, that's kind of a big deal for me, especially when you're moving people around the country to
Right.
come and be a part of your company. There's
Yeah.
a lot of responsibility that comes along with that.
Right. No, for sure. No, you're absolutely right about that. And did you envision things? I mean, obviously I want to say recently, but you're I would imagine growing up in the streets of Muskegon Heights, you didn't envision yourself one day having your own collection of cigars as well as
Never.
opening a cigar lounge. So I mean, I always and I love. Actually, I was at this private social club earlier today where Navy SEAL was giving a speech, and a lot of the points he was talking about was progression, living life, and not just being stagnant, continuing to every year set goals and look to accomplish those goals. Uh, I guess going back, because again, from the city of Muskegon, we're all about sports. So, whether it's
Correct.
football, whether it's basketball, whatever the case may be. And again, you play professionally. So I
I
guess
did.
kind of can you talk a little bit about that? Look at it. I also want you to tell the story that you told Steve Mariucci at the pro day at Michigan State. Man, hey, I'll never forget that story.
Yeah. I remember like it was yesterday. Actually, um, we were at Michigan State's pro day back in 2004. I was an invited guest there because my parents. I was invited there because my parents had a home there in Lansing that was within the 10-mile radius of the school, so they allowed me to come and be a guest at their pro day, and I did well enough at that pro day to have some amazing people come and talk to me, pull me out, and the first person that pulled me out to give me and mind you, I was young. I was, this was my second year in college, and I was at this pro day,
Right.
which back in those days, you needed to be 3 years removed from high school.
Yeah.
I was only 2 years removed from high school, which, I did for now. I did well enough to have the head coach of the Detroit Lions, then Steve Mariucci, pulled me aside and started asking me questions. One of the first guy, one of the only people that, on that in that year that the head coach of the NFL team was lived single handedly talking to an athlete.
Right.
So Steve's asking me all these questions, and mind you, this was an opportunity for me to tell him what I wanted to do while I was there,
Right.
and so he calls me up and he said, "Hey, let me talk to you. Why are you leaving school? I mean, you're an amazing athlete. At this point, I just ran a 4.240 at the Michigan State University, right?" And so he pulls me aside moments after I ran my 40-yard dash. So I'm still, my adrenaline's up. I'm
Yeah.
still pumped up. Dick Vermeil just clocked me at a 4.240. I'm feeling myself.
Oh yeah.
Steve's come pull me over and say, "Listen, man, why are you leaving school so early when you have this kind of talent?" And a young me, I'm thinking, I'm just be real as I possibly can, and he go love that. So my answer to him was, "Man, I'm trying to get paid."
Hey, what was his response at that point when you told him?
His his response when I told him that, he looked and he was like, "Well, with a college degree, you're gonna get paid, but it has to be something more than than you trying to get paid." And
Right.
again, this is my first time ever having a conversation like this with someone of that magnitude.
For sure.
And I didn't have the proper training going into it, because now looking back on it, you know, 20 years later, if that question asked me again, why are you trying to leave school to go and to go and pursue your dreams as a professional athlete, I would have told him, I'm ready to leave school now because I believe that this is the best route for me to take in moving forward.
Right.
I believe that I can be of value to anybody's team who take a chance on me, and me being young only gives them more time to work with me throughout the course of the years.
Right.
If looking back at it, that's probably the route that I would have taken. But again, coming from where I came from, and I'm trying to get paid.
Yeah, I'm trying to get paid.
Hey man, shoot.
So, but then you still. So, did you ever play uh in the NFL, or was it like semi-professional? So how did
Yeah,
that all
so
work out after that?
With the NFL, man, they brought me in for several different workouts, several different teams. You know, and how you go there and you think you do well enough to make the team, and then
Yeah.
you always come up short. So
Right.
that's pretty much was my story with the NFL.
Yeah.
However, I ended up started playing arena football
Okay.
while I was steadily trying to get on the NFL roster.
Got you.
And I had some success in the arena football league, and it just never was. You know, when I was a kid, I used to pray that when I grow up, I say, God, I want to be a professional football player when I grow up. I never specified the level of professional football that I wanted to
Right.
play.
Right.
So, He answered my prayers. I became a professional football player.
Got you. So you
He
say you
answered
should
my
have been more
prayer.
specific.
I should have been more. And so now when I pray, I'm overly specific. God, tomorrow at 11:50 a.m., I
Right.
need you to deliver me.
No, that's hilarious. So then, because while all this was going on, as far as or at least the pro day in Lansing and at Michigan State University, then at some point you decide to make a jump or a move down south from the Midwest area. So
Yes.
I guess what came about that? I know, hey, you always tell me now, hey, you couldn't do the code anymore. So but at
I,
that time, what made you say, okay, let me do something different as far as going from this place where essentially I spent all my life at this point to essentially a new situation altogether.
Truthfully, it was my dad, Coach
Okay.
Antonio Sahuba Baruti. He was your coach in high school. He
Yep.
coached
Yep.
me up in high school. He retired in Muskegon and ended up getting away from the code. And of course, I was still running around the country, pursuing my dreams.
Right.
So what he did was brought me down there to help him move some of Mom's furniture down there.
Yep.
And when I got there, he had started a fitness company for me. Well, he had started a fitness company knowing that his whole purpose of starting the fitness company was so that I could have work when I was done playing football. Because at this
Wow.
point, we realized that I was not going to be a Hall of Fame NFL
Right.
player.
Yeah,
I
for
wasn't going
sure.
to, I'm going to need to fall back on something.
Right.
And, he knew me well enough to know that anything that I do, anything in my life that since he's known me, that I was passionate about, I excelled at it.
Right.
So what better thing to do for somebody that you love, that you care about, than to put them in a position where they're going to have success? And fitness was my calling.
Right.
I've been an athlete at this point my whole life now. I can tell, you more about the body than a vast majority of people who are walking around. So my dad started Renegade Fitness Pro, and he
Yep.
left it over to me.
And y'all was training some top athletes. It wasn't just
Oh,
such and such from down the street. These Division 1
no,
athletes, NFL athletes.
correct. Division 1 athletes, NFL athletes, high school athletes. I mean, movie stars, governors, producers. I mean, we had a good thing going for a long time.
So
It was
then, go ahead.
no, I say it was an amazing opportunity for me to go out there and learn, while I was still playing ball, this side of life as far as making money and being in
Right.
business and how to,
Right.
truthfully, if you could sell yourself as a personal trainer, you could sell pretty much anything.
Right. Right. Okay. No, and that's actually an interesting point because now I guess at what point do you decide to do something different from the fitness, and then what was that? What was the next? I guess the next passion project, or next thing
Well,
that you like. Okay, I need to do this. This is the next step for me.
well, in any profession, you always want more, especially when you're involved with people. And
Okay.
I look at myself as the person, I don't want to know what somebody's talking about. I want to understand them.
Gotcha.
So I would listen to people, and the needs of the people is what was my calling.
Gotcha.
So if there was something that needed, if there was a food drive that needed to be done and nobody else was doing it, and it's a need for it, then I'm going to go out there and see to it that I put my money, my time, my heart, my resources all into developing that. And I got all of that. I got all of that from the people who believed enough in me to pay me for my job.
Gotcha.
So
Oh, and that's interesting. So then, at this point, you're in Louisiana, correct? When you were doing
correct,
Renegade Fitness,
correct.
I guess what prompted the move to Florida at that point?
So moving to Florida, I mean, Louisiana was great. I love Louisiana. I mean, I tell people this. I'm Louisiana's most favorite adopted son.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
It was amazing to me being there, and I'll never forget the day when I got the call about moving to Florida.
Okay.
My then wife calls me because she was an executive over at Lockheed Martin, then end up going to what's now L3 Harris Technology as a general manager of aviation over there. So she calls me up one day. I actually took some time off and went back to my hometown of Muskegon Heights to help my friend Corey Chandler, who was the head football coach of
Yep.
Muskegon Heights High School.
Yep.
I lent him my services. So while she was back in Louisiana, I'm in Michigan coaching, and I get a phone call from her, and she asked me, hey, just out of curiosity, what is it going to take to get you to leave from Louisiana? And I said, it'd have to be a miracle. It'll be an act of God to get me to leave Louisiana, because that ain't gonna never happen. And so a couple days later, she flies up to Michigan to meet me while I'm after one of my coaching clinics, and she slides a piece of paper. She writes a number on a piece of paper and slides the number across the table and asked me if that was a miracle. A couple weeks later, we was in Florida.
Oh no! So now I gotta ask. I gotta ask. You don't have to answer. What was the number? What was the
I can't.
miracle
I
number?
can't. It was. Trust me. A lot of people don't. I've never met anybody who single-handedly won the lotto.
Yeah.
That would be the equivalent of winning the lotto.
Okay. Can you give us a range?
I can't. I can't. I mean, that's just take that with you.
So then, what are you doing in Florida? So she, successfully gets you to, go from
Yes.
Louisiana to Florida. What are you doing in
Yes.
Florida at
So
that point? Are you still doing fitness? Or are you kind of doing something completely different?
no, I left Florida and sold the fitness company,
Okay.
um, and came to Florida and was here, and we're just finding our way here. I'm trying to figure out the needs of the people, what's missing, what the people want, and so pretty much I was working as a consultant
Okay.
for for my family,
Okay.
you know, and was able to meet some amazing people here in Florida and listen to the needs of the people and
Yep.
the wants of the people. And I would always say sometimes the only thing a person needs is support. It ain't about
Gotcha.
the money, it ain't about the drive, it ain't about the determination. It's just the support,
Or-
knowing that if we do this, then the support will be there. And Florida has stepped up to the plate and has went above and beyond anybody's streams of imagination as far as being supportive of the Keely Baruti brand, the Fairway Cigar Company brand, as well as the Fairway Cigar Lounge brand.
Got you. Got you. So another important piece, and this what I took a lot from you as it relates to from a marketing and a branding standpoint, is when you were a salesman, selling vehicles. Uh, and man, I always used to see, hey, your Facebook posts, your social media posts, people come, hey, left and right, they coming to buy cars from you. How did you
Mm-hmm.
get involved in that? Because again, man, you're like one of the top salesmen in the country.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely,
so how
absolutely.
how did all that come about?
So all of that came about. So of course the pandemic hit in 2020,
Yep.
and so it shut the whole world down. So all of my businesses that I've invested in, all of my lines of income that I had, it all came to a stop, came to a standstill. So now I got to figure out, ways to make money so I can feed my family.
Right, for sure.
And my friend of mine owns a buddy of mine has a friend who owned the Mercedes dealership, and I was driving Mercedes, so I knew enough about the cars that if somebody asked me about it, I could tell them what my car entailed because it's the knowledge for me, the understanding of what I'm into and what's important. If I'm
Right,
buying something, I want to know what it is I'm buying.
right.
Right. So I knew the Mercedes brand, and just what happened. My buddy owned a Mercedes dealership here. So I reached out to him. Hey, listen, I've never been in the car business. I've never sold anything, but I think I could sell this brand.
Gotcha.
And so it was the pandemic, so people weren't working. A lot of people were afraid to come out and work when everybody else was scared to go out and work. I was out there leading the charge, saying, "Listen, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die trying to provide for my family.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I'm not going to sit around and wait for nothing to come to me. I'm going to go out there and get it." And they saw that. They hired me on the spot. Um, I educated myself on the entire brand, on where the Mercedes come from, where the AMG is all about. I've educated myself to the point that when I showed up my first day at work, I had already had 10 people following me to come buy cars from day one.
Really?
Really.
Oh, hold on. What do you mean when you say they were following you? Was that through social media or just through your
No, it was
contacts?
just through word of mouth, just neighbors,
Wow.
friends. Like, hey, listen, if I got a job selling Mercedes, would you buy one from me? It was. They didn't even think about it.
Right.
Absolutely.
For sure. For sure.
If you're selling me a car, Trey, I will buy it from you.
So
Thank
I
you.
mean, and that's big on your network because, and I always tell people your network is your net worth because again, you have to be hanging out with people who can afford Mercedes Benz or luxury vehicles as opposed to other like people who are on the opposite end of that spectrum who can't afford that. So
Yes.
I guess as a sidebar, how important is that as far as developing that network of people who that's mutually benefit? I can help them, they can help me.
No,
How important was that?
it's very important. However, there is a lot about the car business that we didn't know about.
Right.
Just looking from the outside, when you see Mercedes, you think you have to be rich in order to buy one.
That's true. That's
You
true.
think you have to be making six figures in order to be able to afford one, when truthfully that's just not the case.
Got
you
you.
know there are certain Mercedes that you do have to be, if you're going to
Yeah.
buy an S550, yes, you want to spend that kind of money on a car, you want to be able to pay for it. But there are affordable Mercedes Benzes as well that a lot of
Right.
people did not know, that you can buy you a brand new Mercedes Benz for $40,000.
Really?
So on a 72 month lease, you put down, $2,000. Your car note on a 72 month going to be anywhere between $300 to $500.
Not very affordable.
Very affordable.
So that just seemed like that just informing the people or whatever you want to call it, but informing them that like, hey, no, you can do
Correct.
this.
I can put you in this car. And so now you see the angle that I had. I had the angle coming from the people who can literally afford it, from without even thinking about a payment, as well as the
Yeah.
people who didn't know that they could even buy one.
Right. Right. So at what point did it become like, okay, I can really do this? Was it a certain amount of vehicles that you had sold? Like what made it just become a reality? Like, I can be very successful at this.
It became for me a reality when I was hired, because again, for me, quality service is the most important thing. The quality is
Yeah.
the most important thing for me. So if I have something that's quality, now the rest is up to me. I have to live up to the expectation of the brand that I'm selling.
Right. I
And
got you.
so
I
and
like
and
that.
so without any thought, I knew
Yeah.
that I would have some success selling Mercedes, because I was going to one. Here's what I was going to do. I was going to show up
Yep.
every day. I was going to work my butt off every day, and I
Yep.
was going to do it with class, dignity, and smile on my face. And that took me to completely different heights, because some people wouldn't buy a car from me. They would go
Yep.
buy a car from somebody else, and then they would see me and say, I wish I would have bought that car from you, because this car is a piece of junk, and it was horrible service, and you were and I was telling the truth.
Right. Right. Just being upfront, being honest.
Just telling the
What
truth.
what was your best month in terms of like how many cars did you sell like when it like at the peak?
At the peak, I think the most cars in one month I've sold myself was 25, but I assisted um in another 15.
Wow. Wow. So just to put things in perspective, what's like just for an average salesman, what is like a good month?
5 cars.
Really? So
Really.
you 5x a good month just on your own, not to mention other transactions that you assisted in.
Correct.
Wow, wow, that's big time right there. At what point? Because again, like I said, I kind of really caught wind is when you were on social media, you were posting, "Hey, come ask for Trey,
Hmm.
get your." I forget you had like a slogan that you used to always say. I forget it, but I had it down pat
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
while.
yeah. Come on down to Mercedes of Melbourne, ask for Trey, and as always, come get your Benz.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So at what point did you like, okay, I need to really use social media to take this thing to the next level?
So I knew going into it that you could be the best salesperson in the world, but if don't nobody know what you're selling, then you're limiting yourself to the amount of people that you can reach.
Right, I got you.
So I knew coming into it that social media was going to be an avenue
Yep,
to assist me in selling cars. And then once you know we was able to use social media for what I needed to use social media for, the rest of it was just word of mouth.
got you. Oh
So
yeah, man.
no different than the same. It's like that hustler that you see on the street. There's something about him that everybody wants to buy what he's selling,
For sure.
right? And I use the same concept, same philosophy in the car business.
So do you think it got to a point where, hey, we need to? forget the car. The car is just kind of what's passing hands, but we actually
Right.
need to be associated with him because that's always been my philosophy is, and when you're a winner, uh, and no, people at some point want to associate themselves with winners. So it almost like
Correct.
a badge of honor to be like, no, yeah, I bought my car from Trey.
Correct. And
That's as
that's
opposed to
that's
just being like I
exactly
bought,
what we did.
as opposed to being like, oh yeah, I bought it from this dealership. Like, no, I bought my, oh, you bought your car from Trey. I bought my car from Trey as well. And that was like just like social currency in that way. So you saying that was always a part of I guess
Yes.
the game plan or something that you had in the back of your head as you
Correct.
were doing this.
Correct. I always wanted to be the person that was treating people the way that I wish that I was treated.
Got you. No, that's man, that's big. That's big. Yeah, I can't believe, man, 25 years. So you was and I always say it seems like we are all salesmen, regardless of what we do. I'm a patent attorney, I own real estate. Look, I'm a salesman. We all have
Correct.
to sell ourselves to a certain degree, no matter what it is that we're doing. At whether we're trying to sell ourselves to get this job, we're trying to sell a product of a company, whether it's our company or another company. We're all salesmen to a degree. It seems like a lot of people or salesmen get a bad rep, or people don't like to consider themselves salesmen. But I think that everyone uh, really, are salesmen at the end of the day. So I guess with that frame of mind, what is some tips or what are some tips that you can maybe give to others to everybody out there, because at some point we're all going to be selling something at some point, whether you look at yourself as a salesman or not. What tips would you say that other people can incorporate into their kind of their pitch, or when they go about their business trying to sell whatever, that hopefully have them have more success, or maybe just get a little bit more relaxed as opposed to being uptight about whatever it is that they're selling.
So the advice that I would give to anybody that's trying to get into the business of any sales is one, if you said it once, be able to say it twice. There's nothing worse than sitting down with somebody that's selling you something and you say one thing, then you come back and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't say that.
Got
And the
you.
person that's sitting across from you saying, actually, you did say that. So you want to make sure that you're able to stand on your word.
Got you.
And in the world that we live in today, your word has become a unforeseen characteristic now, because your word means pretty much nothing.
Right.
So
Yep.
when you find somebody who's doubling down on, if I said it, I meant it,
Yep.
this is what it is, I'm not going away from what it is I said.
Right.
Period.
Yep.
When you find somebody like that, especially if you're a salesman, what that's going to do is generate longevity, because you may not be at that dealership a year from now. You may
Yep.
be at another dealership,
Yep.
but the people who bought that car, if they could buy that car from you, they could be responsible for buying hundreds of cars from
Right.
you.
Right. Or even
So
something else if you decide to get off into a completely new business
no
selling
matter what it
another
is,
widget. Yep.
no matter what it is, you stay true to your word. You look people in the eye, you shake their hands, and what I had to learn to do was slow down how I was talking,
Got you.
right? So they give God gives you two ears and one mouth for a reason, right?
Right.
You listen twice as hard as you talk. So when people come in there, it's a salesman wants to sell you whatever they have,
Got you.
but someone that's helping you buy something is wants to listen to you, the person that's in need, the
Yep.
person that has the means and resources to achieve whatever the goal is. So you come in there, I want to listen to the person that I might be helping buy something.
Got you.
I
Yep.
want to understand what they want. So I sit them down. I say, all right, here's the three things that I need from anybody that's that needs to purchase something. Here's the three things that I need. Number one, wants. Number two, lifestyle. Number three, budget.
Got you.
So wants and needs, lifestyle, budget. You tell me that information, I can assist you in whatever it is that you want, whatever it
Got
is
you.
that you need. And it's not me going around and it's literally wants, needs, budget, lifestyle.
Gotcha.
What do you want? What do you want? I want a car. All right. What's your lifestyle? Well, I have 4 kids. I need something big enough to take them to and from school, to and
Gotcha.
from practice. Got you. What's your budget? I want to stay around the $50,000 range.
Gotcha.
Fantastic. So here's what I know now. I know she needs an SUV.
Yep.
I know she needs something that's safe and dependable,
Yep.
and I know she needs something that's affordable. So now everything else is a byproduct of those 3 things. Now you start talking about colors, and now you start talking about interior, all
Yep.
that secondary stuff. But the
Gotcha.
most important things was taken care of.
And do you think that how did people react? I guess as you were approaching it like that, did they seem more relaxed, relieved? Did that kind of make them think of you in I guess a different light from say maybe another salesman who was talking
Yes,
fast and seemed
yes,
like they're trying to put them in anything and get over on them?
yes. It put me on a completely different level because I was the car dealer that had class
Yep.
and
Gotcha.
integrity.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
which those 2 things you don't find in the car business.
Right.
You don't find those things in the vast majority of business.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I look at I get it. Normally, when somebody as an attorney, when somebody think of an attorney, hey, normally it's oh man, they greedy, they always billing, they trying to always, get the most out of
Right.
you. It's normally not a good rep. So being able to come with some just some morals and some ethics and that the honesty, that man, that goes a long way.
Yeah,
Especially
and
especially for
it
the smaller guys. Especially
it
for the
keeps
smaller
you it
guys.
keeps you around for a lot longer.
Yeah, for
People
sure.
want people will appreciate you a lot more.
Got you. Got
So
you. So then, and as we kind of get to the end here, so then you have a extra astronomical success as a car salesman. Again, at the height, you're selling 25 cars a month, which is mind blowing. 5 times what 5 times the amount of what just a average salesman, car salesman is selling. So at what point do you say, okay, it's on to the next thing?
well, you're always thinking that it's on to the next. If you're in business, if you're an entrepreneur, it's
Okay,
always on to the. You're always in the back of your mind. You have your next move that you're going to make. That's how entrepreneurship is was created. That's how it works. That's what it's all about.
got
So
you.
from the time that the time that I sold my first car, I've always known that I would be doing something in along those lines of helping people.
Okay,
From the time I freaking got my first client in Renegade Fitness Pro, I knew that I would be doing something that's going to be helping people.
got you.
And so that's you just have that on your mind as an entrepreneur.
Yep. Got you. So then I'm assuming that from because again, it seems like you're I would imagine leaving at the peak of what you're doing, a peak of success to say, okay, that next phase, I would imagine is uh having your own cigar lounge, having your own cigar collection. Was that like the next progression in helping people for you?
Yeah, so that was the thing that's what I've always wanted to do. That's one of those things that I was passionate about.
Yep.
That I told you the story about how I came to fall in love with the cigars, and
Yep.
that was always something that I wanted to do, and the opportunity presented itself, and I had the means and the know-how to actually do it when it presented itself. So that was a no-brainer for me.
Got you. No, that's man, that's hey, that's big. That's some good stuff right there. Look at I mean, I want to be respectful of your time. I know you it's been a long
Hey,
day. Like it seems like you're relaxing. Look at that. You see me, I'm bundled up. You got your khakis on, your polo.
yeah, man, it's a cold 75 down here today.
Hey, look at I wish it was 75, man. Look, you got me want to jump on the next thing smoking that way.
Hey, I
Uh
look for you. Got to come down to the grand opening. I'll
yeah,
be reaching out to you once we solidify the date.
okay, no, and so that's what I was going to ask you. So you guys are still in the process of solidifying the date for the
Yes,
grand
yes, we're
opening.
still we're still we're still under construction. Everything is going according to plan. So
Okay,
no hiccups there. We're just just when in business you're going to have things that come your way and you just have to be prepared for them.
Right. No, yeah, I definitely understand that. So I guess if someone wants to follow you or follow what you have going on, how can they kind of follow it? Is it through social media? Do you guys have a website? How
Yeah,
can they
so we
get in
have a
touch with you?
website. It's www.fairwaycigarlounge.com, or you can
Okay.
follow me at TREY Baruti Senior on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and TikTok.
Okay. No, that sounds like a plan. And if they wanted to buy some of your brand of cigars, would that be at the
Yeah,
on your website?
in the illustrious words of Coach Prime, I ain't hard to find.
Ah, hey, look at I definitely just saw that video where he said that too. I'm not hard to find. So no,
I'm not
that's
hard
good,
to find.
man. That's good stuff. So so when we live, so obviously they heard it, but as I go and post this, I'm gonna definitely post just your social media handles. I'm post the website. I'm looking forward to coming down for that grand opening, man. That's like I
Yeah,
said,
for sure.
I
I
go
can't
every
wait to see you.
Wednesday to the cigar lounge just to network and fellowship, and it's a good thing. So just to see somebody who I looked up to from the beginning get to the point where that's they have their own thing going on, not just their own cigar lounge. They have their own collection of cigars. That man,
Yeah,
hey, look, and I'm there.
yeah.
I can't wait to receive that information. It's been a pleasure spending some time with you, getting a chance. Look, it's been 10 years. We were talking about this
Man,
offline. It's been 10
it's
years.
been a
So,
pleasure. I remember back when you was a sophomore, junior in high school,
yep.
and we used to come pick you up at 5 a.m. in the morning
Yep.
to open up them doors to the weight room so you can go in there and work out. And I never forget my dad told me, he said, by the way, Dave is a 4.0 student
Yep.
getting up at 4:30 so we could pick him up by 5 o'clock so we could be in the weight room by 5:30,
Yep. Yep.
then go on. I mean, you're an amazing in the weight room. Then go on to class and get 4.0 student and then
Yep.
play football after.
Yeah. Right.
So for me, I always knew, that I always knew with you that you just had something in you that the world was not ready for.
I appreciate
And
that.
whenever I've been following you from afar for a
Yeah.
long time, and then
Yeah.
whenever I can't tell my story without you in it.
No, I appreciate it. Look at man, you had me at 5:30 in the morning repping out 405 on the squat rack.
Getting it. Let's go.
Hey, getting it. So, hey, man, but I need it. I mean, that discipline. I always tell people, like, man, you don't have to tell me, you don't have to micromanage me, you don't have to tell me what I need to be
Right.
doing or check on me. Look, if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna stick to my word, regardless of if I got to wake up at 5 o'clock, 5:30.
Correct.
We gonna get it done. And again, that all started, back like you said, back, waking up at 4:30, 5 o'clock with working out with you guys, and that man that played a big part of where I am today. So I think uh much like you said, I can't tell my story without you all in it, and you and Coach Baruti, hey man, hey, just motivated me, and it was always that support system that you talk about. People need to be supported. That those last couple years of high school, you guys definitely supported me, and not only that, after that as well, but definitely those last couple years of high school definitely supported me in ways unimaginable, and hey, I'm forever thankful for that. And hey, look forward to, hey man, I'm gonna get down to Florida, man. You may convince me to
Make
move
sure.
out there one of these days,
Hey
man. Cause
man, look. I have some people I want you to meet.
yeah, hey, yeah, 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 hey. So yeah, cause I go outside, I'm like, man, I don't, hey, you get in the car, you like it's cold,
Yeah,
just like
man. Yeah, that's for you tough guys.
yeah, no, well,
Hey man, yeah, I don't want to be tough no more.
right, 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 right. You said those days
Yeah,
long
no, I
gone.
don't want to be tough no more. No, I'm good. Like I said, I need to put on a sweatshirt. It's 75 right now.
Man, you talking about a sweatshirt. If I was 75, man, I'd be out there. I probably would have no shirt on out there.
Oh
But
man. Well,
but no,
Dave, man, I appreciate your time. Thank you for inviting me to your platform and allowing me to engage in conversation with you. Anything I can do to support you, I think I've proven that I will, and I'll
yeah,
continue to do so.
no, I
I love
definitely,
you,
yeah,
and you're a special human being. God did the world a favor when He blessed us with you.
no, I
So
definitely appreciate those
keep up
kind
the good
words.
work.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So until next time, we gonna catch y'all later.
Yes, sir. Talk to you later.
Talk later.